What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Comically Boston, episode 129. It is currently February 5th, 2024, and I turned 25 over the weekend. Thank you for anyone that reached out and said happy birthday. I really appreciate y'all. We had a lot of movie reviews come out last week, and over the last week we've had a bunch of news, but if you guys know me, I like to start with the sports, but I'd like you guys to comment below. Should I change the structure of this show? Should I cut out the sports section and put this week's in sports and do like my own video about the Celtics and sports and things that have happened in the sports world, and then talk about, the headlines, my main discussion of each of these videos, and then at the end of each of these videos, I've been doing what you've been watchings, and, that's basically just what you've been watching over the last week, TV shows, movies, whatever. But today, we're talking about, is Daredevil the sluttiest Avenger? And yes, you heard me right. Also, The Last of Us Part 3 got confirmed, ? And Dune Part 2 has started press, so we're going to talk a little bit about that towards the end of this video. But to start out this video, let's talk about the sports. Monday night, we faced Zion Williamson and the Pelicans. We squeaked out a W, 118-112 victory there. Derek White played great. Jason Tatum came out and did his damn thing. 28 points, 8 assists, 10 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block. The very next night, on a back-to-back, we faced the Pacers. Now, that team's been tough for us all year. Neesmith has really, ever since we traded him, he's been on our ass every time he plays us. But we squeaked out a dub versus them as well, 129-124 versus the Pacers. Love to see us continuing to win at home. I think we only have 3 losses at home all season, and all of them have been 2 points or real close, except for one that I'm about to talk about soon. But first, the Pacers, Tatum, in his second night on a back-to-back, scored 37 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks. He's an absolute beast. He got named All-Star starter for the 5th year in a row, 5-time All-Star, 5th appearance. He is a beast. He is becoming the face of the league, slowly but surely. I love to see it. I thought he should have been maybe not a starter, but definitely a reserve, and I'm bummed that Derek White isn't a reserve as well. But Jaylen Brown, shout out to him. He's going to be in his 3rd All-Star game appearance, which is great. We have one guy with 5, we have one guy with 3, and, if we can get Drew Holiday, Porzingis, and Derek White there in the next couple of years, that would be awesome as well. But Thursday night, we faced the Lakers without LeBron, without AD, and we played like a steaming hot pile of garbage. But I also think these guys have been playing all season with LeBron and AD, and Scalabrini was making some good points. He kept going, yeah, but when LeBron and AD are on the court, they're kind of just standing around watching LeBron and AD go to work. And when they're not on the court, they actually have to play, and it's all on them, but they're also getting extra minutes, they're getting extra touches. So this young Lakers squad came out and kept the pressure on us, and they ended up picking up a victory, 114-105, one of 3 teams that has beat us at home this year, which is crazy that we lost to that terrible team. That was a Thursday night. Things happened. Last night, Sunday night, we faced the Grizzlies. We had a welcome home little tribute for our boy Marcus Smart. Love to see him. He's injured along with half of the Grizzlies team, so he didn't get to play, but neither did Ja, neither did Jaren Jackson, neither did Desmond Bane. There was a lot of their great players, not all on the bench tonight, and we, of course, picked up a W in commanding fashion. We picked up a dub, 131-91. Our bench guys played the entire 4th. We win by 40. That's how we like to come off a loss. You know what I mean? Jason Tatum, once again, didn't play the 4th, had 34, 7, and 8. Let this guy play the 4th, go drop 60. You know what I mean? We need a couple more high-scoring games from Jason Tatum, because the league's been ridiculous this year, and people think Luka Doncic or Embiid's the greatest player in the league because one dropped 70 and the other dropped 73. Although it be impressive, they're not the greatest players in the league, and winning alone should stand for that. You know what I mean? We're first place in the league, and people are, we lose a game and they're like, they're trash. We win a game and they're like, oh, they're a super team. People are just saying whatever just to, make excuses and be like, well, Celtics ain't that good. But It is what it is. But Sunday night, because we were up by so much, Jordan Walsh got into his first NBA game, and he scored his first bucket with a commanding dunk. So shout out Jordan Walsh. That's the kid we drafted this year, and he's been on a two-way contract. He's been playing mostly with the Maine Red Claws, but he's been at like the end of our bench, and he hasn't really gotten a chance to do anything this season, but finally gets his first dunk at home, and he was all jazzed up about it. But the Celtics play next Wednesday night at home versus the Hawks at 7:30, and I'm super excited for that. So stay tuned till next week. We'll talk more about the Celtics. But let's get into the headlines. Something I thought I'd never see, but is coming to a racetrack near you, 2025. Mr. Lewis Hamilton himself is leaving Benz and going to Ferrari in 2025. So he's been one of the greatest, if not the greatest driver of all time with Mercedes for a long time, and it's only been in the recent couple years that Red Bull and Max Verstappen has been unbeatable. So he's going to be joining Charles Leclerc over at Ferrari in 2025, but I'm sitting there going, what about Carlos Sainz? Carlos Sainz is a pretty good as driver himself. So I don't know. It's going to be cool to see him in red, but I truly thought I was going to see him retire with Mercedes. So it's going to be interesting stuff next year because all of 2024 he's going to be racing for Mercedes, and it's going to be every race is going to be, hey, so you're leaving? You're going to be with Ferrari next year? How's that feel? And I genuinely didn't think a caliber person like Lewis Hamilton was really going to continue to race. Like, he's already done everything he needed to do, but he's still a young guy, I guess, so he's still doing his thing. I like to see that. The finale for Percy Jackson was this last week, and we finally got to see who is Poseidon and who is Zeus. I didn't see Zeus coming. I didn't see Poseidon coming either, if I'm being honest, but Zeus being Lance Reddick, oh, hit different, because poor Lance Reddick, rest in peace. He's a legend. He just got honored by Keanu Reeves in an award at the Saturn Awards the other night, which is great. The Grammys were last night, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Shout out to like Miley Cyrus, to the Swifties, I guess. Shout out to you guys. Oh, God. I hope Taylor's in this movie as Dazzler. But Lance Reddick, the Percy show wasn't terrible. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was great, but it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't love Poseidon. You know what I mean? Like, Zeus was, at least commanding with Lance Reddick's deep ass voice. But Poseidon over here, I don't even know who this actor is. Maybe you guys can educate me a little bit on who this guy is. But he just looks like a dad. You know what I mean? Like, just a normal dude. He's got this like a beach dad. He's got like this thin blue shirt that's wrinkled, and he's got khakis on. Like, he's just chilling. He's just on a beach chilling. He's a surfer dude, which is, kind of makes sense because he's a, king of the ocean or whatever. Talk to fishies. But the next bit of news is devastating. It is super sad. Mr. Carl Weathers from 1948 to 2024 has passed away. Very sad stuff. It has to be sudden. He was, 70 or whatever years old he was, but he was just in commercials with Gronk for the Kick of Destiny. He was in Mandalorian as Grief Karga. He was a great role, but we know him probably best from his role as Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. He was a jacked young man. Oh, he was so fucking huge, chiseled. We know him as Dylan from Predator, I just watched recently. Not for the first time, but I just rewatched recently. And, that Dylan, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
Like that power just grip that they got. Like, oh, so legendary. And now Arnold and him will never be able to do that again. Like, that's so sad. And rest in peace to Carl Weathers and his family. Shout out to you guys. What a legend of a dude and incredible actor. But we have to move on. So we're going to move on to some castings from last week. Of course, in the previous Comically Boston, we were talking about the narrowing down of the Supergirl casting, but it has gone to my girl from House of the Dragon, Millie Alcock, and she will be the new Supergirl. So shout out to her. I believe the Supergirl story that they're going for from the comics is like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow or something like that. and it's supposed to be a really badass story. So hopefully she does well, and she does the damn thing. Now, Louis Pullman has been rumored to be cast as Sentry, replacing Stephen Yeun. And Louis Pullman was Bob, I believe was his name. I don't remember his call name. I think it was Bob. For some reason, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't seen Top Gun Maverick in a while, but he was in Top Gun Maverick as this guy with the glasses, and you know, he's kind of hilarious. So if he's getting buff and getting jacked, he's going to be the new Sentry. All right, I'm into it. But some set photos leaked from, I don't know if they're leaked or if intentionally put out, but some photos from the set of Penguin came out with, of course, Colin Farrell reprising his role from the Matt Reeves' The Batman movie. And it looks like there's just a devastating explosion, and there's people just like, you know, recovering from the dust in old Oswald Cobblepot is just walking through the thing. So I don't know. People are debating online, are we going to see Batman in this? I mean, it would feel weird if we don't see him at all, but it would also feel weird if we see him too much. I'm guessing we're going to see him like finale episode maybe, but I'm thinking this is going to expand the world of Gotham more, and we're going to do some world building. We're going to, you know, flush out the underworld. We're going to maybe see the Joker, which I'm excited about, maybe see Paul Dano back as the Riddler. But if not, and we just focus on, you know, if we just focus on the Penguin in Colin Farrell, maybe we'll see some other villains. Maybe we'll see a Mr. Freeze, because the city's flooded, you know, and he could freeze the city and take advantage, you know, like maybe we'll flush out some more villains. Maybe like you know, like he could go do anyone. Maybe we'll flush out like, you know, Nightwing and shit like that. You know, maybe they're already existing, but we're still year 2 Batman. So we don't know. We really don't know. But I'm guessing most of it's gonna be just cops. So maybe we'll see Jeffrey Wright in there as Gordon, you know. So either way, I have no idea when that's dropping, but it looks good. Just recently, last week, Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Donald Glover and Maya Erskine dropped on Amazon Prime. We watched it, and not as good as I wanted it to be. You know, I like him and her. Like, they were kind of funny together. They're really funny in interviews that I've been watching, but I don't know if it really captured the magic on camera during the shooting of it. You know what I mean? So, a little too slow, a little too weird at parts, and just didn't really capture the sexiness and the magic of Brad and Angelina. You know what I mean? Like, that first Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie is just unbelievable. And this, they kind of tried to change it and do some other story with it, but then they just didn't really capture that sexiness and love story that the first movie did. And violence and hype, you know, like they just, it wasn't the same to me. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that. But we get a main discussion from today. We'll start getting into that. We'll get into some Daredevil set photos real soon, and why is Daredevil the sluttiest Avenger. But real quick, we'll talk about The Last of Us Remastered Part 2 has come out, and they just dropped the Grounded 2 documentary. Grounded 1, I believe, was the making of The Last of Us Part 1. So Grounded 2 is the making of The Last of Us Part 2. And obviously this game was much bigger, and scale was bigger, and they had crunches and cutbacks and tons of stuff, and then the strike and the pandemic and COVID, just tons of stuff had happened to the making of this game. And then they're like, do we drop this game in the middle of a pandemic? Are people going to want to play it? Like, you know, they were shocked on what was happening, and they're like, how is this going to unfold? But I have gotten around to playing the no return mode, which is kind of interesting because you start out as Ellie and Abby, obviously, but then you can go through and unlock Ellie characters, and then you can go through and unlock, you know, Yara and Lev and Mel and Manny and Abby's characters, and then you get to play not really like the story mode, more of like a mini game type of thing where there's challenges and you go through and you have to survive wave by wave by wave, and then there's runs of like 5 different encounters, and then each encounter has challenges in it that you can do to get extra supplies, but really you're just trying to survive or eliminate the enemies. But some of them are just survive a time limit, some of them is hold out and kill everything, Some of them are go and capture like a safe with supplies, and you have to wipe out everybody. Some of them, you know, it's kind of fun. It's kind of addicting in a way too. You know, especially when you have to unlock things. And then once you unlock them, you're like, well, I guess I got to do the challenges now. So then you're trying to like finish encounters in certain ways so that you get the challenges. You know what I mean? So it's kind of fun. I've really been enjoying it because it is The Last of Us and it feels so much like The Last of Us, but it's not just playing the story over and over again like I've done before. So I've really enjoyed it, but I did watch the 2-hour documentary of The Grounded 2, which is now out on YouTube, and I believe also linked to the game. You can watch it right through the remastered Part 2. But what I found the most interesting was... obviously, the whole thing was interesting, but the most interesting was what creator Neil Druckmann had to say at the very end of this. And he had come out saying he had a story that had to do with Tommy. So everyone then started reporting, The Last of Us 3 is Tommy's game. The first one was Joel, the second one was Ellie, the third one's Tommy. And I don't think that's true. I think maybe there's closer to like a DLC that's going to drop exploring Tommy, or it's going to be like a little starter point of the game. And then there will be a whole nother story with Ellie and Abby that will continue into Part 3. But, I've always thought there was going to be a Part 3. But he kind of confirms it. I'll read the quote. He goes, I don't have a story, but I do have that concept that to me is as exciting as Part 1 and as exciting as Part 2. It's its own thing, yet has a through line through all three. So it feels like there's probably one more chapter to this story. And it cuts. And I'm like, oh, and then the internet, right? So he's been avoiding talking anything about The Last of Us 3 for the longest time. And he was like, I don't have the story, I don't have the concept. Like, if there's a story worth telling, like, I'll tell it. And then now, just recently, he was like, I have now found the concept. He doesn't know the story, he doesn't have the details laid out, bam, 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 you know, like... But now he's got the concept. So now every day there's concept in this guy's head, and he's just working out the story details. And he's got people like Craig Mazin and the YouTube shit, and or the HBO shit, and the TV show. And I think the TV show, right, the second game is huge. So I think they're going to break up the second Part 2 of the game into 2 seasons of show. And we're going to get Last of Us Season 3 will be like the end of Part 2 of the game, and then Season 4 or 5 will be Game 3. But Game 3 will be able to get worked on and come out while they're shooting Seasons 2 and 3. Right now they're shooting Season 2, and apparently it's only going to be 7 episodes. So I'm thinking that they're going to, for the people that know, they're going to do that whole first part of the game, if you know what I'm talking about, and they're maybe going to expand some things, show you what happened in between, you know, like there's things they could do there. And I have all the faith in Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin. Like, they're just both great, and I love the games, I loved the show. It's fucking awesome. So I can't wait to see that. The Last of Us Part 3 confirmed is in the works, so I'm so excited about that. I have no idea where the story's gonna go. Ellie's got friggin' 3 fingers, like, on one hand, like, it's crazy. I've also been playing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which originally when this game was coming out, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. But I still don't know if I like it, but for some odd reason, it is addicting to play, and it's fun to, like, traverse and then fight. Although the combat itself is kind of repetitive and over, and you're just kind of shooting this purple orb, and you're taking out these purple guys with the purple orbs, and I get it, they're Brainiac's guys, so they're like purple beings, but you know, it's just a little bit repetitive combat. But the story itself has got me like, damn, it's kind of fun. And then the group of them's funny, the way that they interact with each other. But it's also not like Guardians of the Galaxy in the sense where you only play as one person and then you control the rest of the team. This, you have the opportunity to jump from player to player. So you can play as Harley or King Shark or Boomerang or Deadshot. And I really have enjoyed that, because some players are more fun to play in combat, and some players are more fun to do traversal with. Like, I thought King Shark's traversal is awesome, but his combat's a little too heavy. But Harley's combat is pretty great, but her traversal's ass. And then Deadshot and Boomerang's traversal is pretty great, but their combat's like just alright, you know what I mean? Or better. But their traversal is pretty great. Like, Deadshot's got a jetpack. Boomerang uses Flash's speed force to throw the boomerang and then teleport to the boomerang. Like, it's pretty awesome traversal. And then you can go from traversal into combat, like, snappy, like, pretty damn quick. So it's entertaining, I'll tell you the least. So I've yet to get too far into the game, but I can say that the city, the map, and just how everything looks, like the guns, and just like, look how this image looks. And everything's open world, so like, you can go pretty much anywhere. Like, there's buildings of like Superman statues, there's Wonder Woman statues, there's all types of shit, and you just go around finding shit and just exploring the city. Like, look at the city, there's damage everywhere and smoke and fire. Like, there's a lot going on. Batman's chasing you down because Brainiac's gotten into most of the Justice League's brain, but you go to like the Justice League's headquarters and you see all their, like, you know, them before they were bad type deal. And I really honestly love seeing this Justice League lineup just together. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes you feel good. There's like a warm, fuzzy feeling I get when I saw the Justice League. I was like, oh, it reminded me of like the comic books or the animated show when I was a kid that I loved so much. Just playing with the Justice League, and then, you know, I think hunting down the Justice League is going to be the hardest part, because I'm like, I enjoy these characters, but I'm also being honest, I do love the villains quite a bit myself. Deadshot, you know, King Shark, that whole group of them is pretty fucking awesome as well. But, you know, you're just exploring the city, and you're bumping into people like Penguin and a guy named Gizmo, and, you know, you're getting bumped into by the Justice League, you know, Wonder Woman, Batman, Green Lantern, Flash. You're like, holy shit, the only one I haven't physically seen yet is Superman, and we know he's about to kick our asses, so we're like trying to avoid him like the plague. But that game's been fun. But let's move on to a huge set photos and leaks talking about Daredevil Born Again. Once again, we're back talking Daredevil Born Again. We're going to talk about it as long as they're filming in New York and there's stuff coming out and images being leaked. But rumor has it that we might see Daredevil in the black suit, and I love the internet because somebody has already rendered a black suit on Charlie Cox, and I think it looks fucking great. All black with the red DD on the chest, the red eyes, the red gloves, the red belt buckle. Like, give me that suit, like, now. But for those of you that haven't watched the Daredevil Netflix series and are planning on watching Daredevil Born Again, I highly recommend going back and watching it because it's pretty awesome. But for those of you that have only seen Charlie Cox in maybe She-Hulk, in his yellow costume, we know in She-Hulk that not only She-Hulk fucks, but also Daredevil fucks. And that yellow suit, I liked but didn't love. I thought the comics red suit was a little bit better, but we are confirming today that Matt Murdock, a.k.a. Charlie Cox, a.k.a. Daredevil, is a slut. And is that bad? Is that slut shaming? I don't know. I think it's just calling a spade a spade, because he's seen here kissing She-Hulk. He's seen here kissing Karen Page because they dated in the show. He's seen here kissing what I believe is Elektra from the shows. I'm in the middle of rewatching season 1, so I'm going to confirm that that's Elektra, but if my hunch is assumed, I believe that's Elektra right there. And then he also, what I can confirm, early in season 1, he's kissing and dating Claire, which is like a sew girl, or a sew girl, like a nurse, you know, somebody that's educated enough to sew you up in a bad spot when you're bleeding out. You got to puncture wounds and shit. But Matt Murdock has been seen on set of Daredevil Born Again kissing a new woman that we do not know, that we have not seen before. So now he is confirmed slut, because he now has been kissing 5 women at the very least on screen as Daredevil, and it's not She-Hulk. So the last time we saw him, he was dating She-Hulk, so now what's the deal with this Heather bitch? Daredevil. Matt Murdock. You's a slut, buddy. You are. I'm sorry. But, I will say on set, he has been looking good in the suits. He looks very, very sharp in the suits. I will say the glasses, I really have enjoyed the new glasses. They're not the circle ones. They're like this special, almost like Robert Downey Jr. frame. And they look good. I actually enjoy it. Of course, he's got the stick still, but the glasses, man, the glasses do look really good. We see Matt here walking with actress Margarita Levieva, playing Matt's girlfriend, Heather Glenn. Now, I don't know too much about Heather Glenn, but what I have seen is that this Margarita Levieva is a gorgeous, gorgeous woman. So, of course, Matt's got good taste, and even for a blind guy, he somehow always gets the gorgeous women. But Heather Glenn from the comics is, you know, there's images going around the internet where Matt asks her to marry him, but then there's also images on the internet of Matt finding her, and, you know, this clip is pretty wild. It says, he answers the phone, Nelson and Murdoch? Mr. Nelson, or Mr. Murdoch, you're gonna have to get down here. And he's like, walks over, and the guy's like, it's in there. And he walks in, and it says he smells death. And so he knows, because obviously he's blind, he can't see the fact that she's hanging above his bed, or her bed, but she's dead. And he's like, Heather, and that's like wild shit. So, so Heather in the comics notoriously doesn't stick around very long, so maybe Kingpin's getting ready to whack a Daredevil girlfriend, who knows? But also some images we've seen of Charlie and Vincent D'Onofrio on set. Matt Murdock and Kingpin, you know, love to see them. Kingpin's looking a little skinny, but Vincent always looking good, of course. And Vincent's surrounded by dudes, and Matt looks pissed there. So I'm looking forward to the show so much. But what we're gonna get sooner is Deadpool 3. And just last night at the Saturn Awards, Kevin Feige was on stage winning an award, and we see the new logo for Deadpool 3, which is half Deadpool, half Wolverine with the Wolverine mask. So is this confirming that Wolverine's going to get his mask and this new logo here? Shout out to the people of the internet that get this shit pumped out so quickly. I don't know how you do it, but you're insane. And then real quick before this video ends, let's talk Dune Part 2 press tour. Of course, Florence Pugh, my goddess, my love, is dressed in black here, and she's looking fantastic. She's the baddie of the week. Love me some Florence Pugh. Love you, girl. But there's a new poster as well. Looks like that is, what is that? Paul, maybe Timothée Chalamet, riding a sandworm. That's interesting stuff. That could be an old poster as well. But some images, some film stills that I've got here. Paul holding the knife, looking at this crowd of people. The sandworms just coming into action here, and it looks like a Harkonnen army just fucking bolting. Like, nah, I don't want anything to do with those 3 sandworms. Thank you very much. Peace, peace. You know, like, I'm good. This next image here looks like crazy architecture, and this has to be like the Baron giving like a big motivational war speech or something. I don't know, but the imaging and the visuals from the first movie is what made me fall in love so quick. So I'm so excited for the second one, and to see Austin Butler and Timothée Chalamet stand off and go at it is going to be insane. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to go see Dune Part 1 in theaters soon because it's coming back out, so that's going to be great to actually see in theaters. But comment below, what do you think? Is Daredevil the biggest slut? Are you excited for Deadpool 3? I know I am. Please smash that likes button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you beautiful people in the next video. Peace!